So as we continue to think about and look at the great chain of being here, how does it make us happy, right? As humans, as human beings in our place, how does this make us happy knowing all this? Pope gives us an answer. The bliss of man could pride that blessing find is not to act or think beyond mankind, right? So what is the key to happiness within the great chain of being? Is to stay within our sphere. Do not become infected with pride. Do not reach beyond where we're supposed to be, right? If we take a look at these strong connections, nice dependencies, gradations just. This is what gives us happiness. Now, jumping a little bit further into the text, on superior powers were we to press inferior might on ours, or in the full creation leave a void where one step broken, the great scales destroyed. From nature's chain, whatever link you strike, 10th or 10,000th breaks the chain alike. We don't want to do this. We don't want to break this chain. And if each system and gradation roll alike essential to the amazing whole, the least confusion, but in one, not all, that system only, but the whole must fall. So what happens if we upset, right, with our pride? We get out of our sphere, our realm of being, of knowledge. What would happen? Let the earth unbalanced from her orbit fly. Planets and suns run lawless through the sky. Let ruling angels from their spheres be hurled, being on being wrecked and world on world. Heaven's whole foundation to their central nod, and nature tremble to the throne of God. It would upset the cosmos, right? Planets, right? They're held in orbits, right? All this would become upset. The angels would fall from their place. All this dread order break. For whom? For thee? Vile worm. Oh, madness, pride, impiety. Boom. We are not to upset the great chain of being, right? Thinking about this is a symptom of pride. It's part of, I know it's part of the sinful nature that we have as human beings, is to naturally want to question things, but we're not supposed to. What if the foot ordained the dust to tread, or hand to toil and aspire to be the head? It's an interesting thought. What if, if you think about the great chain of being here as the body, what about the different parts of the body just upset? What would happen then? This craziness. To serve mere engines to the ruling mind, just as absurd for any part to claim to be another in this general frame. Just as absurd to mourn the tasks or pains the great directing mind of all ordains. All are but parts of one stupendous whole, whose body nature is, and God the soul, that change through all, and yet in all the same, great in the earth, as in the ethereal frame, warms in the sun, refreshes in the breeze, glows in the stars, and blossoms in the trees, lives through all life, extends through all extent, spreads undivided, operates unspent, breathes in our soul, and forms our mortal part, as full as perfect in a hair as heart, as full as perfect in vile man that mourns, the rapt seraph that adores and burns. To him no high, no low, no great, no small, he fills, he bounds, connects, and equals all. Now listen to this, how we're going to end out here. Cease then, right? Cease then, stop it. Nor order imperfection name. Our proper bliss depends on what we blame. Know thy own point. This due degree of blindness weaken, heaven bestows on thee. Interesting thought. That heaven gives us blindness and weakness, right? But it's not necessarily a bad thing to be blind to certain things, right? Like we talked about earlier, it's not a bad thing being ignorant, being blind of your fate. You wouldn't want to know all these different things. We have weaknesses, yes. We have limitations. Everything does, right? And this is good. All this stuff is good. Submit, right? Submit yourself to the divine plan, right? Submit yourself to your station in life. In this or any other sphere, secure to be as blessed as thou canst bear, safe in the hand of one disposing power, or in the natal or the mortal hour. All nature is but art, unknown to thee, all chance direction, which thou canst not see, all discord harmony, not understood, all partial evil, universal good, and spite of pride and erring reason's spite, one truth is clear, whatever is right. Wow, what a finish. So what do we see here in Essay on Man? That the way things are not only as they are, but as they're supposed to be, right? Wow. And now, a little caveat here. If you want to read more about the life of Alexander Pope, it's some interesting facts. He was Catholic in a Protestant country. England was a Protestant country at this time. And just by being Catholic in the Protestant England at this time, he was prohibited from holding elected office. He was barred from going to universities as well, just from being Catholic, I know. England at this time did not have separation of church and state. As well, Pope was born with really debilitating birth defect. He had curvature of the spine. He lived much of his life in pain, and he was really, really short. So his life, he had limitations physically because of his faith. He was also limited in the laws in England at this time. And so what is he saying? Well, this is what is, and whatever is right. So it's not like Alexander Pope was, this great hulk of a man, and could go through. And no, he had his own limitations. He had his own frailties. He had his own weaknesses as well. And he's not warring against them. He's accepting them, some consolations, right, that we're seeing through this. It's a blessing to know and become accepting of your role in life and how you fit in with the great chain of being. Another little caveat is that many Americans, we don't like this, right? We don't like being told that wherever I am in life is my place in life, and regardless of how hard I work, I'm still going to be kept in that sphere, that station, that realm. Now, important to remember that this is in continental Europe, right? England during the time. People who didn't like these ideas of gradations and dependencies and being in your spot went someplace. Where do they go? America. Because in America, this idea, even though it was talked about, it really was not as embraced as it was in Europe. So one of the things that we're seeing here as we go through and we study period literature is that, again, said before, say it again, literature is a reflection not only of its time, but of its society. So hope that these brief little lectures or looks into an essay on man have helped. So until we meet again, be well, do good work, and keep in touch.